What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, it is my favorite episode of the year, my favorite project, the WPIAL Preseason Preview. So pumped up to release this to you guys. Just right off the bat, we're doing it a little bit different than we did last year. Last year, I had them all together on one. It was like 3 hours long. It was a lot. This year, I'm changing it up. Each single team is going to have their own little video, their own little episode of the pod. So you won't have to sift through all the other stuff. Super excited for that. We talked to all these different coaches, man. I had 30 guys come on from across AA and AAA, which shattered my goals for this year, which is awesome. So yeah, man, I'm just super excited to release this to you guys. It was a lot of fun. These coaches were open and honest. They had great insight, and for me, man, just to sit down and listen to these guys talk about what they're wrestling, there's not much better in my world. So without further ado, here is the WPIAL Preseason Preview. Thank you, guys. Love Jens. As always, brought to you by Switch Custom Apparel.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where Dial and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny D, WPIAL, yeah, Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
Okay, joining me now on the call, we have head coach of Montour High School, Zach Tournay. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, boy. Super excited to have you on. I regretted sending this text already. No, I'm just kidding. Montour versus West Day action. Let's go. Super excited. It felt wrong to not have you guys on, you guys being right there 10 minutes away, man. Super pumped up to talk to you. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the alumni group. Who's doing things in college? And shout out any of the alumni group.
Yeah, we've got a really great group of alumni who's making some big news. We had just two recent graduates from college. Nico Marsico, he graduated from Montour in 2018. He just recently graduated from Gannon University.
Yep.
And then Devin Giovango from the same 2018 Montour class. He went on and wrestled for Teal, and he just recently graduated. And then we have 2021 graduate Aiden DeLuca. He's wrestling for Western New England University, which is a D3 school out in Massachusetts. He was just in over Thanksgiving break, popped in the room for a little bit. He's coming off an injury, so he should be wrestling this weekend in a tournament in New York, he said.
Nice.
He's wrestling 197 for them. And then a couple of graduates from last year, Lucas Swearingen, he's wrestling for a club out at the University of Dayton.
Okay.
So Dayton doesn't actually have a wrestling program, but they have a club. And he was just in again over Thanksgiving break, and they've got about 10, 12 kids on their club team. And they just wrestle a couple other different local colleges out there.
Well, it's a nice little pocket up there. I mean, that makes sense, man. That's a nice little area for wrestling.
Yeah, and I mean, even for the kids to know that, you don't have to go to some big D2, D1, program. There's always some place where you can wrestle at the next level, which is always good. Maybe if you weren't like a WPIAL champion or a state place winner, you could still wrestle in college at some place. And last year, Peter Chacon graduated last year, WPIAL champion last year. He was two-time state place winner. He's wrestling at Duke, and he's actually starting at 141 as a true freshman.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah, so big props out to him starting out there. And then we also, if you want to call it wrestling, Roman Masick graduated from 2017. He placed third at the States that year.
Very familiar.
He's currently in the WWE.
Woo! Why am I not surprised? He's got that mentality. That's awesome.
He does. He's got that charisma. He's in their developmental right now down in Florida. He's under the name of Luca Crisafino.
Ooh, I like that.
Look on the NXT you'll be seeing him pretty soon, definitely, because he's got it. So we're excited to see him
I'm
on the TV.
That's one of my guilty pleasures is WWE, AEW, man. I kind of get into that stuff. So yeah, man, super excited to see what he's going to do. The Casper brothers are obviously doing big things that wrestled at Duke. So that's real cool. And then I remember like Cole growing up. Cole was a monster. Their parents are both monsters. So for him to go on and do something like that with those aspirations doesn't surprise me at all. Very, very cool.
Doesn't surprise me either.
All right, Coach. Yep. Let's get right into this year, this season. How has the off-season program gone for you guys?
Off-season went really well. Our school hired a strength coach this year. So each sport at the school had an opportunity to have a designated time over the summer. Get in the weight room. He put everybody on a weightlifting program to basically, each individual basically what we needed them to either build strength or build speed, anything like that. So a lot of the kids took advantage of that. Plus we did open mat pretty much all summer long. 1-2 nights a week, guys pop in, get a sweat going, nothing too big and crazy. But we used that. We had a lot of first year wrestlers come out this year too. So we were able to basically show them the basics, stance, motion, level change, basic shots. And that's going to pay off because some of those first year wrestlers might find themselves in a spot here, some point during the season. So
that's awesome. Good stuff, man. I mean, hey, numbers. You're not the first person I've talked to even tonight that, the numbers are seem to be picking up a little bit, which is good, man. We need that, as many kids as possible in the room.
Yeah, exactly. And we have 28 varsity wrestlers on our squad.
That's awesome.
Which has been, the numbers have slowly been going up, which is great. There's actually like 72, I think, is what the numbers is in the youth program. So hopefully, those younger kids stick with it to junior high, and then we'll see them back up at varsity here in maybe 4 or 5 years too. So.
Good stuff. Yeah, man. Okay, so as the off-season programs, ramping down, we're starting to ramping up the start of the season. Chartiers Houston's this weekend. Who's some of the leaders that you have identified in the room?
We've got a handful. We graduated 8 seniors last year. And all of those seniors were pretty much our team captains and our leaders. So we've had 4 wrestlers in particular step up. First was Anthony Orlandini. He was a captain last year, but he was a junior, but now he's a senior. He's a state qualifier last year. He placed 4th in the WPIAL last year, 5th in the region. We're expecting some big things out of him. And then we have 2 other seniors. First is Ilham Abzarov. So he was a regional qualifier last year. And then AJ Esposito, another senior, a WPIAL qualifier last year as well. And then Alex Dush. He's one of the bigger boys. He's a senior. He was a WPIAL qualifier last year. Big football player. He's actually already committed to play football at Westminster after the school year. So, but he's big vocal in the room, which is great. And then as far as like underclassmen, we have a wrestler. His name is Rook Smith. He's a sophomore this year, and he is he's a club wrestler, so he wrestles all year long. And we're expecting some big things from him. He was injured most of the season last year, so he didn't get to wrestle. He wrestled in the Chartiers Houston tournament last year, got injured in that tournament, and then he was out all the way until team playoffs. So we didn't have him for like the heart of the season. But he still qualified for WPIALs last year, and he's back and healthy, and he's going to be an anchor point in our lineup this year as well. So big things from all those guys this year.
Nice, good stuff. So on the other side of that coin, how about freshmen, newcomers? Who's going to be, some of those newcomers that we need to look out for?
Well, so we sent, I think it was 5 freshmen down to wrestle junior high last year. So now those wrestlers are now wrestling varsity. So I wouldn't call them freshmen. I'm just going to, call them first-year varsity wrestlers.
Yep.
First one, they're all 10th graders. But Tom Cunningham, looks like he's going to be finding himself in a starting spot this year.
Wait.
Probably 160 or 172. And then the other one is Caden Hallijoe. He's also another sophomore. He wrestled down to junior high last year. He's probably going to find himself in a starting spot, 160, 172 range as well. And then we have a couple returning sophomores who they wrestled varsity last year, but we're expecting some big things from them. And the first one would be Jacob Chacon, which is Peter's little brother. He had a great season, and then the postseason, he was the victim of Big Brother dropping to a lower weight, and then another wrestler dropping to, and then Anthony Orlandini dropped down to his weight. So he was kind of the odd man out for postseason. But I think he's going to use that as a little bit of a fire this year. So expecting some big things from him. And then last but certainly not least, Kristen Walzer. She is our 107 pounder this year. She was last year too. She qualified for girls states last year. She came 2 matches away from placing, and she lost to a senior by 2 points. But she's all heart. She doesn't give up, and she's incredible. So second year varsity for her. She's going to make some noise this year. Trust me.
Let's go.
And especially in girls postseason. So she's going to be our starter at 107, but girls postseason, look out for Kristen Walzer.
Let's go. She's going to be a stud. Here we go.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Coaching staff. Who's helping you out this year?
So I had some coaching staff turnover from last year, but my varsity assistant is Rick Patnano. He comes to us from Chartiers Valley. He was their junior high coach for about 8 to 10 years. But he also coaches football for Montour. So whenever my assistant position came open, he jumped on board with us. And then my junior high coaches, Matt O'Block is my junior high head coach. He was a Canon Mac grad.
Yeah, very familiar. He's a star.
Yeah, he had over 100 wins in high school.
Yeah,
knows the sport. He actually works for our technology department at Montour.
Very cool.
So it made it simple. he already works for the school district. So.
Yeah, part of that Blueprint program. No problem getting him in the in there. That's awesome.
Not at all. We won't hold that against them either. And then the junior high assistant is Nick Reckenu. He's a Montour grad from 2020. A kid. I coached him in junior high, and he came up to varsity with me when I got the head varsity position. So I've known him since he was in 7th grade. But he knows wrestling, and they'll do good things at the junior high. And then I have a quite a few volunteer assistants. The first one would be Nate Reckner. He was my head boy. Yes, he is. And wrestled for Gannon, state place winner, WPIAL champ. He was my varsity assistant last year. Got a new job, and with the time and stuff with the new job, he just couldn't do it. So he's going to stick on as a volunteer. Vince Orlandini, that would be Anthony Orlandini's dad. Okay. He's been a volunteer for years. He was actually a junior high coach as well whenever his kids were wrestling junior high. And then so he's going to stick around as a volunteer. And then I have Steve Fullwood, another Montour grad. I think he graduated in 2008-ish. He was a junior high coach last year for the past couple of years. And then again, he's a state cop. So his time is always,
all over the place.
So
yep.
He's going to stick on as a volunteer. And then, of course, there's my dad. The
legend.
Merle. Yes, legend. He comes to every match, every tournament. He'll keep the book. He'll sit in a corner. He does it all. So,
Blue guy.
Yes. So he's great to have around too. And he's always around. So which is great.
Yeah, and
man. Then, special, I guess, he's not directly involved with the varsity or anything, but Cole Masick is coaching our youth program. So big things down there. Cole, obviously Montour grad, WPIAL champion, state place winner.
Not a bad one to have leading the youth program.
Not at all. Not at all. So he's down there in the youth. He's doing great things down there. He started his own little club at the old YMCA down on Beaver Grade Road. So he's doing great things with the youth. So he's also, we consider him part of our coaching staff as well. So
absolutely, man. It sounds like you have great guys on all levels. You know, some names in there that you dropped. That's impressive stuff. Matt O'Block, Nate Reckner, Mason.
It's not. Stuff. Sometimes it doesn't come down to like the X's and O's of wrestling. It's you want to surround yourself with just good people and good role models for these young men and women, because I mean, what the lessons that these kids are going to learn through this sport is second to none.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Okay. Next one I got on the dock. Broom games, kickball, dodgeball, stickball, handball. What do you guys get into?
We're big on spike ball.
Okay.
And then dodgeball is a staple in the room. We do sometimes we do team dodgeball, we do partner dodgeball. And then some days we'll get into some speedball. You know, but when you get 28 guys in a room, speedball could get a little intense.
Yes. And wrestlers, I said this on the last one. Wrestlers, we don't get physical at all. You know what I mean?
No.
For sure. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, schedule, man. What's it look like for you guys this year? And how are you gonna get these guys ready for the end of the year?
Well, first thing up is Chartreuse Houston tournament this weekend. That's basically kicking off the entire season. So we got that tournament. And then we got some dual meets here in December, South Allegheny, Carlington, Hopewell. That's an out of section duel that we have right before Christmas break. So we have that one. And then we kick off the new year with a dual meet with Quaker Valley. So that's a big one. We lost to them by 1 point last year. So that's a big one on our schedule. You got the MAC tournament. Duels with Keystone Oaks, Avonworth, South Park, Allegheny County tournament in the middle of January. We also go up to the Grove City tournament.
Nice.
This will be our third year going to that. And that's a great tournament. It's huge.
Yeah, man. I was just talking to the Pine Richland coach about that tournament.
Yeah.
You know, he's from that area, and you know, I just highlighted that on my schedule. That might be one I go to this year. That's a nice tournament.
It is. They put on a really good tournament, and it gives us some different competition. You know, we're not wrestling the same teams, because you see the same teams at the MAC tournament, Allegheny County tournament, even the Chartreuse Houston tournament. So when you get up into the Grove City area, you get some, you know, different wrestlers that you're not normally used to.
That's a nice little pocket up there, man. There's some tough kids up there. Yes,
there is. And we've been fortunate. We've Peter Chacon, he won it as a junior, placed third last year, and then Anthony Orlandini placed last year as well. So I mean, it's a tough tournament. You come out of there beat up a little bit too, but it's good. I mean, we get a hotel. Big team bonding experience, you know. So that's a good trip.
Nice.
And then
man.
Of course we finish all the team stuff with our Montour duels. That's our own duel tournament that we host. A lot of work goes into that. 10 teams. We won our duels last year. So we're hoping to repeat that, defend that title this year as well.
Nice, man. Good stuff. Okay. Next thing I have on the docket. Social medias. How can we follow your squad this year?
We have a Facebook page, Montour Wrestling. I think it's like Montour Wrestling High School and Junior High. Our booster organization runs that, so they're always posting pictures from matches and tournaments, and you know what the kids did in placing wise. And I usually post on my own personal Instagram, and then I recently all the kids were getting on me to get Twitter. or X, whatever it is called now.
X,
So
there you go.
I'm just dipping into that for this season too. So there'll be some stuff on there as well.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff indeed. Okay. Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
I got a shout out. I mean, big time for our booster organization and the parents. They do so much for the kids. They provide. I mean, we go into these tournaments and we have meal money that the kids can use at the concession stands. Very little because they got to make weight. After the tournaments, we always take the kids out to eat. So that's big time team bonding. So, and usually we leave it up to the highest placing wrestler at a tournament gets to pick where we go to eat. And we were spoiled. Last year, I think we hit Texas Roadhouse, Ichiban. We went to Ichiban last year. And then, Red Robin is always a staple. We always like to go there too.
Good burgers.
And then it's funny. We roll in with like 15, 20 guys in these restaurants and they all give us this look of, oh crap.
Yeah, the wrestlers are here. Alert the cooks.
Yeah. And then also like our coaches and my coaches and the alumni, the alumni, they come up Thanksgiving break, Christmas break. They always text me and say, "Hey coach, when's practice? Can I come up and roll around?" Like and I usually, like some of them, I'll just, "Hey, practice is yours today." They hear my voice enough in the room all season long. But when you have, like Aiden DeLuca will pop in, have him show a few things. The stuff that it gets a different voice in the room. And
those guys look up to you know what I mean? They look up to those guys. They're bringing a college look, college feel, and that's a cool idea, man. I love that.
They do, and it gives them, hey, like I can wrestle at the next level as well. Seeing these guys come back and have them give them a little bit of a college experience, like talk to them about school and stuff like that, which is always good to have them in the room. So.
Good stuff as always, Coach. Thank you so much for stopping by, and good luck to them Spartans out there, but not too much luck. No, I'm just kidding. Good luck to Montour. Appreciate you, coming on, and I'm sure I'll see you maybe even at Chartiers Houston this weekend, or if someplace soon.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me.